Well, yeah, I mean, the title pretty much says it all. Shit is about to get expensive if it isn't already. Lumber prices are through the roof, building houses are super expensive, energy prices, gas prices, if you can get gas, because apparently there's a huge shortage on the East Coast, you might have heard about that. All kinds of craziness going on, not to mention a war in the Middle East. So lots to talk about today, no matter where you live, you guys. This topic of inflation, the CPI increase, and the price of goods going up is something that you're going to want to pay attention to, because ultimately it's going to devalue those dollars that you have in your bank account. So in today's video, I'm going to explain all of this to you in very simple terms so that you can see what's going on, and most importantly, stay until the end of the video. I'm going to tell you what to do about it. Let's go. Hey, what's up, my friends? Thanks for tuning in to another video. I am Dima, and today we're talking about a very important topic no matter where you live, what state, what area, any part of the country, as the CPI index numbers came in at a much higher than expected number of 4.2%, which is the highest we have seen in over a decade. So I'm going to explain to you what this is and why you should be worried about it. And most importantly, like I said, I'm going to tell you what you can do about it so that you don't get sucker punched by the inflation that is already here, and that, by the way, I kind of predicted in some of my older videos. So let's rock and roll. All right, guys, so what I am showing you here is the Consumer Price Index chart, or CPI. CPI is basically a measure of all of the goods and services, I shouldn't say all, a basket of goods and services that are chosen across industries to represent the price of goods year over year. So if the Consumer Price Index is high, that means we have a lot of inflation, which is not really a good thing because it devalues currency. So put another way, that dollar you have in your pocket is now worth 4.2% less, or maybe you can buy 4.2% less stuff with that same dollar. So you can look at it a number of different ways. Anyhow, if you look at this chart, what you could see is, back in 2008, it was really high, 5.6%, kind of in check. And then a decade ago, September 2011, 3.9%. Since then, it's been pretty low, and now it's skyrocketed. So again, this is a measure of year-over-year prices. So let's think back a year ago. What was going on back then? I wonder. Oh, the pandemic. So if you look a year ago, okay, let's go back. Oops, sorry, I went way too far. So if you look back a year ago right here to April, May of 2020, inflation was basically non-existent. I mean, it was 0, 0.3%, 0.1%. And the reason why was everything was shut down. The economy wasn't moving. So you can't really have inflation if nothing is happening, right? And so that's what happened then. Now, you look a year later, and that inflation number has gone up a lot or significantly. The one reason that we could explain that, or that we could maybe justify that, is that because it was so low before, if it goes up a little bit, all of a sudden it's exaggerated or looks much worse than it is. At least that is what the government and the Federal Reserve would have you believe. In fact, the Federal Reserve came out today and basically said that we think that this is a temporary thing. It's not going to last. Inflation is no big deal, and so don't really worry about it. Now, I'm here to tell you, you should worry about it. The price of goods and services is skyrocketing. If you haven't noticed, let me show you another chart that kind of illustrates this a little bit more closely. All right, guys, so this is CPI kind of broken down, right? So we have all items here, 4.2%, as I said, and then you look at food, 2.4%, energy, 25% increase. By the way, I don't know if you heard, but we have a little gas shortage happening because a pipeline was down due to some malware based on a hack by the Russians. Of course, it's always the Russians, that hacked the pipeline and that shut that down. But energy is up 25%, which is huge. And then all items less food and energy are 3%. So we can actually click on this chart. Well, we're supposed to be able to click on the chart. Okay, maybe we're not. Anyhow, if you click on the chart, it's supposed to show you all of the items that you can see. But basically what's happening, if you think about it, is that, and you're probably feeling this, the price of lumber and things related to housing has increased. Therefore, house prices are skyrocketing and going up. The price of energy, like gas and utilities and things like that, are going up big time. There's shortages of semiconductors. So the price of cars, as you may have noticed, has gone up, and there's also a shortage, so a lot of people can't even get a car when they want one. And so, guys, because of all of this, what we're really seeing is an increase in inflation based upon all of this stuff. Oh, and by the way, I should mention, Printing a ton of money also doesn't help, because when you print a lot of money and there's a huge supply of money, that also devalues the current currency. Just saying. So all of these factors together equate to an inflationary environment that I'm not so sure will be temporary. We will see later in the year, September, October, November, maybe fourth quarter. We're going to really see whether this is temporary or whether it continues. But if it continues, watch out. And that brings me to the part of the video where I will tell you what you should do if you're concerned about inflation like I am. But first, guys, if you're getting value from this video, if this is stuff you like to watch, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications button and the like button down there so that YouTube shows us to more people and really shows all of this stuff and helps people make great decisions with their lives wherever they live. Okay, so what to do about inflation? So guys, historically, there's a couple things that are called a hedge against inflation. These are things you can buy because your dollar is going to continue to devalue. These are things like real estate. These are things like gold, and now I will tell you these are things like Bitcoin, because those assets historically will be a good hedge against inflation. So as the dollar devalues, as the price of goods, that inflation keeps going up, those things will either keep pace or they will outpace inflation. And so because of that, when you park your money into things like real estate and gold and now Bitcoin, they will continue to increase their value with inflation, maybe even ahead of inflation. And so that's my advice for the day. That's my crystal ball, guys. And that's what I'm doing. You know, personally speaking, investing in real estate, investing in Bitcoin. I'm not the biggest fan of gold just because, I feel like it's not the best store of value. I'd rather be in Bitcoin. The stock market also, if you pick the stock market correctly, although today the stock market, based on this inflation number, had a huge, huge sell-off. And so that's what's going on right now, guys. There's a lot of crises happening in the world right now, but pay attention to this because this affects your pocketbook and this affects your finances. So if you aren't in real estate, if you aren't in things like Bitcoin, gold, stock market, really take a look at your portfolio and make sure that you are checking those things out so that the value and the purchasing power of your dollar does not get eroded as inflation continues to go up. Once again, guys, if you got value here, subscribe. Do it. Hit that subscribe button if you're not yet a subscriber. And based on my statistics, a lot of you aren't, but you like to watch my videos. So subscribe. Do it now. Hit the like button. Share this with someone you know. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks again for tuning in.